Good morning, friends. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Today, I'm out at the Fish Ranch farm. As you can see by all the stuff that's going over around me. Today is the penultimate harvest of the season, of the year. And I'm so glad because I only have one more out here next week and I'm ready for the season to be done so I can focus on getting stuff going for next year. So I'm gonna get started harvesting, and then after this, when I get all the flowers home, I will introduce you to all of the flower seeds that I'm going to start for next spring, all the cold hardy annuals. And these are things that you can start as well. So it's much later in the day. I had a whole bunch of errands to run and some other things to do. So now I'm finally ready to sit down and go through these seeds with you guys. I don't think I'm gonna have a chance to start them today. I'm like getting further and further behind. It's okay, but I still have to make bouquets and everything, and it's getting late in the day. So looking at seeds for the spring garden that are getting started this fall. These are cold hardy annuals. There might be a few perennials in here too, but they're cold hardy, meaning they can withstand either a frost or a light freeze. Some of them do well under snow. So we don't get snow here usually. But these guys are good and hardy. Now you can check in your what your zone is and look and see if what you're interested in planting is cold hardy. It'll tell you the hardiness zone for it. And a really great resource to check out if you're interested in growing flowers is Cool Flowers by Lisa Mason Ziegler. I'll link it below. That is a whole bunch of flowers that you can grow by starting them from seed in the early fall, planting them in fall, and then having them overwinter and come up very early in the spring to give you flowers earlier than anything else. So let's get started. All right. The first one I'm putting down here is Agrostemma. I think I only have one variety here. Yeah, which is kind of a bummer, but Agrostemma I have two different colors usually. Ocean Pearl, which is a white one, which is really pretty, and then Purple Queen, I think is what it's called, which is a purple color. But really pretty, delicate, airy flowers, and they're great, very long stems, and they're great for early spring bouquets. And then I have Magus, which I always grow. This one, I have a Queen of Africa variety and Graceland variety. Arugula, so not all of these are flowers, so I need to start more arugula. I'm going to this year start artichokes. We love artichokes. I've never grown them. I have space now to do so. So yeah, I'm going to start these artichokes, or at least a couple of them. I have California bluebells to start. Now these are not going to go in the cut garden. These are going to go in a in one of the like wildflower gardens out at the farm, and I'll probably put some here too. And then a whole bunch of different calendulas, and these also will not go as row crops. They'll be out in a wildflower patch, which I'll explain more to you guys when I show you, next time we go out to the farm. So this is Ivory Princess. That's one of my favorites. It's so pretty. I have Cantaloupe, which is also really pretty. Orange Button, Bronze, and Bronze Beauty. So those are the calendulas I'm starting. Then I have some really cool carrots. This one is Black Nebula. So these I'm going to obviously direct sow. Those will be here in the home garden. And this one is Pusa Aceta Black. It's a tropical black carrot, it says. And then I have a couple of free packets here, St. Valerie carrots, which is just an orange carrot. All right, back to flowers. Centaurea, which is bachelor buttons. I've got Classic Magic, Classic Romantic, and actually that's it. Usually I start more than that. Those are also direct sown. I don't start those in soil blocks. They do just fine direct sown. New this year for me is Godicia, or also known as Clarkia. I grew a little bit of it this year, not in rows at all, and I was like, oh, that's a really pretty flower. It actually was in the wildflower section. So I have Tower Coral, Shell Pink, and Salmon. So this should be fun. Also starting, this is not necessarily for spring. I mean, we'll probably eat on these throughout the fall, but more collards. And then I have Cynoglossum, or Chinese forget-me-not. So I have Blue Showers and Firmament. More Ami. I have a better picture here. I'll show you this. This is the chocolate lace flower. Love this stuff. Grow it every year. And then all the feverfew, which is now called Chrysanthemum Parthenium. And so I've got Balls Ultra Double, Vegmo Snowball Extra. Some of these are pelleted. Vegmo Sunny Ball, and Magic Single. And then I have White Lisbon Bunching Onions, and Cabernet. Oh no, sorry, Cabernet. Yeah, duh, it's a red onion. Bulbing onion. I want to up my onion game this year. You know what's really funny is I don't even like onions, but the rest of the family does, and they're obviously, you use it when you cook. So I'm going to up my onion game this year. And then moving on to Nigella. This is another direct sown flower. I have Delft Blue, African Bride, Albion Black Marble, and Miss Jekyll blend. All right, and then Orlea, white lace flower. I always grow that one as well. That one is really more heat sensitive, so where the Dara or the Magus will just keep going all year, literally all year, even through the heat. The Orlea tends to fizzle out when it starts getting warm, so it's really good for an early spring. It's also blooms earlier than the Ami and the Dara, so that's a good white lacy flower for early spring. All right, and then radishes, one of my favorite things. This is a watermelon radish. I have I've got a bunch here. Radish, 18 days. a petit déjeuner, a breakfast radish, an early scarlet globe, and a Japanese wasabi radish. I really want to try this one because I love wasabi. All right, and then we have a couple of radicchios. We have Maverick and Castelfranco. Radicchio is, we have this favorite salad in our family that we make in the fall, which is radicchio, like shredded radicchio, shredded endive, and then thinly sliced apple slices, chopped up raw almonds, and a little bit of Parmesan cheese. And then the dressing is a little bit of Parmesan cheese, olive oil, apple cider vinegar, sherry vinegar, and a little bit of garlic or onion in there, and honey. And it's just so good. Oh, and some almonds are also in that dressing as well. So I use my food processor for that. The squirrels are going crazy. Okay, back to seeds, a few more. So Rudbeckia, these I really like to have, these are perennial. I really like to have these in the garden because they bloom just like calendula consistently, and every year the plant gets better and better. So the seed that I don't have here in my hand that I am going to find, I might have to buy some more, is Rudbeckia triloba, which is it's a perennial everywhere Rudbeckia that has the little black-eyed Susan flowers, but it is multi-branched, and so you don't get a big, huge flower like some of these varieties, but you get just a spray of them. And I planted some this year out in my front garden, just 3 plants, and they're getting huge, which is great because they're going to be there forever. So that'll be something nice that I can cut on for a long time. But these Rudbeckias, these are both Rudbeckia hirta from Floret. This one is the Chimney mix, and then I have Denver Daisy. Now I don't have color photos to show you of these. I'll try to put some in here if I can. You know, there's always copyright issues to deal with when it comes to that, but let's see what I can do. Okay. Those will mostly go, yeah, pretty much. I'll probably pop a few here in the front garden for permanent use, maybe in between the fruit trees to bring in the pollinators, but otherwise most of these are going to go out at the new farm property. Okay, Scabiosa. It's so funny, I grew Scabiosa this year and didn't cut any of it. It was just one of those years. It's been an interesting year. I have a lot of things I want to go over in my successes and fails video later this year. Okay, Scabiosa, I have the Cut Right formula mix. Oh, I'm sorry, Cut Bright. I have the Fata Morgana, which is it's a white one, and also Snow Maiden. And then this is another formula mix. So that's what they look like. And they also have really cool seed heads, so you can let them, you know, stay on the plant, just become a seed head and not just the flower. All right, now comes the snapdragons. Now these, this will be my 3rd year growing snapdragons. They have become one of my favorite flowers to grow. And I'm starting to zone in on some of my favorite varieties. So this year, I think I'm going to nail that down, and then those are going to be the ones I grow from now on, because otherwise it gets a little crazy. But snapdragons there's different groups. And so some are early bloom, some are late bloom, and then within those groups you can have doubles or singles, or so, you know, there's a lot of variety in snapdragons. All right, so in the Rocket series, I don't think I have all these perfectly organized. Anyway, I have Rocket Orchid, I have Maryland Flamingo, Maryland Plum Blossom. Maryland is like the variety, and then the color is Flamingo and Plum Blossom. Madam Butterfly Bronze. This one was so glorious this year. I loved it so much. Madam Butterfly Ivory, Madam Butterfly Rose. Can you tell I really like that variety? And then I have Madam Butterfly Bronze with white. And then back in the Rockets, I have a mix. Okay, so that's it for snapdragons. that's a lot of snapdragons, and I'm excited. They're so great. I love them. Okay, statice. I have a ton of statice here, even though I have so much dried statice. I don't need any more dried statice, but I'm going to continue to grow it. I think what I'm going to need to do, and this year I think I'm going to, as I go through this list, I may really narrow it down to certain colors. So I have a formula mix from Johnny's, a Seeker mix, Seeker Blue, Silver, which I haven't grown before. I'm looking forward to that because I really need more. I notice I really like the pastel status, the white status. Yellow is okay. I have a yellow here. But the blue and the purple are so common, and I don't really use them for a lot, which is interesting. But it took me a few years to be growing to figure out that I guess I just don't design with blue very much. All right, stock. Now stock is something that after this year I was like, I'm not doing that again, because the stock this year failed miserably. But I think it was really more a function of the way the weather was. So I have a variety of stock here. This is gonna be my final year trying it. If I can't get it to grow nicely with nice long stems and like thick, because the problem with stock is it's a very fragile flower, more fragile even than snapdragons. And so to use it well, you got to be real careful with the handling, and so it's hard sometimes in designing with them because it just kind of get mushed up in there. Stock is not a cut and come again, it's a single producing flower on each plant. And so unlike the others that I've already gone over, this is a one and done. So I tend to plant them very close together because there's no point in taking up a huge amount of space in something that once you cut it, then that space is empty. It's not going to produce again. So I do like the apricot color, but I'm a sucker for those all the time. So apricot stock. I mean, one nice thing about stock is it's fragrant. It's really nice. Cat's High Double White, an iron mix, Cat's Yellow, Cat's White. Okay, so that's it for stock. I love the apricot colors, and so I'm hoping that one will do well. All right, now moving on to straw flower, a flower that I mostly dry, but I also like to use in arrangements. And it's funny because people always ask, what is that? It's just such a cool flower. I love it. Silvery Rose, this is one of my favorite ones. Copper Red and Vintage White. I have a lot of straw flower. I'm saying because I'm having duplicates. Purple Red, that's the one, I think one of my favorites. It's like this purple maroon color surrounding a red, a really bright red. And Vintage White, Apricot Mix. The apricot straw flower is so gorgeous. And okay, so that's it for straw flower. I am going to start more yarrow. I have Summer Pastels, Favorite Berries, and Colorado. Because I can put those all over the new farm property. They are native here and come in lots of beautiful colors, extremely drought tolerant, and they make really great cuts as well as dried flowers. And they are a pollinator magnet. The big, broad, teeny tiny flowers is perfect for different pollinators to land on, and so really, really great plants to have. Also, it's basically an herb, so there's a lot about it that's also good. I can feed the leaves of them, and the flowers too, to the chickens. It's really good for them. So yeah, it's just a great plant to have. All right, so that's what I'm starting this week. Now, I don't need to start any more seeds this year until week 51. This is literally like the week before the end of the year. And these seeds are, they take a long time, well, a long time in the cold to germinate. They're going to be on heat mats, but, and then they go out in the early spring into the ground. So some of these are direct sown as well. So I have delphiniums, I have a Magic Fountain mix, a Blue Donna mix, and more Dusty Miller. I have a lot of seeds here. I think what I'm going to do, because I have so much Dusty Miller seeds, and the stuff I have in the cottage garden is on its like 4th year, and it just looks great, like it's continuing to produce. I think I'm going to start a lot of them and put them out as transplants on the farm property, because Dusty's great to cut from. It can be on the hillsides where I don't need to go very often, and just do its thing. Okay, and then I have the violas, and I started a bunch of these last year, and like the first year I did this, 2 years ago, all of them germinated and they looked awesome. I had them all over the property. But this year, again, it was probably a weather trouble. So I have Antique Shades, which is really pretty, Brush Strokes, Antique Leida, this one's really pretty, Helen Mount, Arkwright Ruby, and Freckles, which I don't have a picture of there. So those are the week 51 seeds. All right, so there you have it. Week 36, all of my cold hardy annuals, I'm going to start either direct sow them. The direct sowing ones, I probably won't put in right now. I'll probably wait a little bit because we're going to have some warm weather for a while. So not hot, but warm. But all the other things that are going into soil blocks, I'm going to start this week so that they'll be ready to transplant in mid-October when everything's ready out at the new farm location. So tomorrow is deliveries, and I'll be busy most of the day. I might get some seed starting done tomorrow, but the next day that we're going to be out at the farm is going to be Wednesday, when I go out and start using stakes and string to get all the beds laid out where I want them, and then raking the bed tops flat and stuff. And so I want to lay out the beds so that I can then do the math real quick and figure out how much compost I need to have hauled in. And then after next week, after I harvest next Monday, that'll be it. I don't need to protect anything from deer out at the old site anymore. And what I'm going to start doing is pulling up the deer fence, because I need all of those T-posts and as much fencing as I can transfer over out of the new property, so that I only buy what I need, because otherwise it's quite expensive because the area is so much bigger. So I want to make sure I can reuse as much as possible. That is the plan there. And I've already got on order, so we're going to have 2 water systems. We're going to have the water collection during the rainy season with the tarp and all that stuff, which we still need to set up. There's a bit of infrastructure to do for that. But then I also have access to the water pipe, which is up at the horse barn, which is 800 feet away. That's a long distance. So it's all kind of downhill. So that is something. But I'm pretty certain I'm going to need either a flow booster or a pump to have that water be usable through drip irrigation. So I have already ordered the mainline tubing that I need for that. And as soon as that arrives, I will hook it up to that spigot, and we'll run it all the way out to the parcel and we'll do a test to see what the pressure is coming out of it at that spot at the parcel. And then that will tell me what I need to do to increase the pressure to the appropriate amount that I need in order to push it through a lot of drip tubing. So there's a lot still of infrastructure work to do, but it's all manageable, and I do have help. And it's a fun process, and I think it's just going to be really great for the business. I'm very excited. Please let me know if you are planning to start some cool hardy annuals for your garden this year. Would love to hear what you're going to be putting in. And in the meantime, I hope you have a great time in your garden. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.